Hello everyone, so today we're taking a look at the tag trans issues and maybe transphobia on TikTok. Because this has been kind of a hot topic on my channel before with a lot of diverging opinions, I do want to put forth this going on right off the bat. I'm taking a look, the ones that I'm going to be showing are the most extreme version, people that take it too far. There's a lot of social justice movements out there. I believe that trans rights is a legitimate one. Just like with I think almost all social justice, there's people that take it just too far. That people that are claiming like oppression and stuff over things that aren't really oppression. So I think that I want to be clear that when I'm talking about these things on here, this is not a demonization of the trans rights movement. This is not going against anything trans. I am merely showing how some things are once again taken like to ridiculous levels sometimes. Just so everyone knows my stance. I still have not come to a firm stance on the J.K. Rowling thing. I'm not broaching that one with this video. I don't think that enjoying J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter world makes me transphobic. I'll put that out there. I separate the art from the artist almost every time. So that's what that is for me. I'm just enjoying the Harry Potter content. It's not something that I feel makes me transphobic simply because J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter. So I just want to put that out there. Also, I personally don't have an issue with trans women calling themselves women. For me, socially, they are women. And what's going on underneath their clothes is quite frankly none of my goddamn business. Though there's only a few instances where I do have some issues, and that is primarily with women's sports, but we're not getting into that today. Um, and there was an incident that my sister actually experienced with a trans woman who had not had bottom surgery yet going into a spa where there were certain areas where you had to be completely nude, and um, because she still had male genitalia, she was not allowed in the spa. That she was told she would be welcomed back when she had bottom surgery, but because it is a women's only spa and there's an expectation of certain genitals, that she would not be able to participate in the spa for that reason. And I felt like that was reasonable, but there was a lawsuit and the spa is now being called transphobic, and I disagree with that. So just so everyone kind of knows, I'm just gonna put that out there, and feel free to disagree with me in the comments. This is something that I'm very open to have a discussion on. But for today, we are looking at the the people that take it too far in terms of trans issues, not legitimate talking points from the trans community. I just want to put that out there.
I've been so annoyed lately because lately there's been a lot of people saying the girls as like a term of expressing themselves, and it just irks me. The term the girls originated from the trans community because that's something that they use to kind of just like talk about themselves, specifically the girls in the community. You could say it's like slang within the community, but yet again, just like a lot of things of LGBTQ culture, like voguing, it's got sissified. Yeah, that's not a word, but I made it a word. I understand the girls is a very simple term that people would resonate with, but at the same time, like, us trans people had one thing, and you guys, I've been so annoyed lately because lately,
And this is something where I'm like, no, I'm sorry, but the girls' night out, I'm hanging with the girls and stuff, has been around for decades. Like, it's not something exclusive to the trans community, and it's something that I think that trying to say that it belongs to the trans community is like a step to it's a phrase. It's a phrase, and she's also trying to say voguing was exclusively LGBT. And it's like voguing came from the Madonna song Vogue and what she was doing. I think it probably had the biggest hit in the LGBT community, but it didn't come strictly from the LGBT community. I want to put that out there. I don't entirely know 100% of what this seems like. It feels like it's part of a bigger conversation than maybe I should broach, but I'm gonna just from this little clip, this tiny 6-second clip, I just want to give you guys an opinion, and that is when it says when trans masks don't use their privilege to protect trans femmes, and this is less to do with the trans community and just more of like the broader open thing. I don't think that everyone that follows under an umbrella of, in this case, trans masks, or trans max, don't owe you advocacy or protection. And I say that, and the reason why I don't like this kind of overgeneralization of, oh, I can't believe they're not doing this, is one, you're expecting a level of performance from someone just because they're that's like that one part of themselves. They may have other things that they're dealing with. Like, I guess it just comes down to not everything is about you. Like, I'm sorry you're disappointed and you don't feel supported, and I think that's a completely valid feeling to have. But at the same time, I don't really feel like anyone owes you their protection. It would be good if they used their privilege, if they made efforts to support and protect those that are more marginalized in their community. That would be a great thing, but I don't think it's owed to you. That's something I'm actually really curious about, even if we put it in like broader terms, even if you can take it out of the trans issue and the trans space here. I'm talking much more broadly, just in general. Like, we're just gonna go with cis here. I'm a cis woman, and cis men are inherently stronger than me. And while it would be nice if someone is bothering me, if like another man is bothering me, it would be nice, and I would greatly appreciate it if another man stepped in to defend me, especially if I seemed overwhelmed by the situation. I would not expect that from anyone. That's why I carry pepper spray. It's just one of those things where I'm like, it's a lovely thing to hope for, and it's something that in an ideal world, like, I could see, but at the same time, I have a hard time placing demands on people I don't even know, simply because they're part of this very large group, you know?
What's the problem, dog?
So this one is not an outrageous take. I just feel the need to comment and share a little something and why I don't have any issues with anyone, especially like a trans woman, using the women's bathroom. One, there's stalls everywhere. What genitals they have should not make a goddamn bit of difference unless you are being a perv and peeking it. Like, that's something that I feel. And two, I think that actually, there's many points here. So two, anyone that has negative intention isn't going to be stopped by a women's sign on the bathroom. They'll wait till no one's around and hide in there. There's like plenty of ways that they can do that. Claiming to be a trans woman for negative intent, for malice intent, is just the newest excuse that those that want to exploit the system will use to do harm to others. It's just the latest excuse. It's not at all any relation to trans women, in my view. Like, I don't see anything. And not only that, but in general, it doesn't even matter who goes into the women's restroom. What matters is their intent. And I know that sounds like a ridiculous statement on its face to some. But I just want to, like, point out one thing. And granted, this was in a college during finals week. It was at my university during finals week, so it is a bit of a different space. But I was in the engineering building, and so there was a huge line for the men's restroom and no line for the women's. So I'm in there with, like, one other girl. And I didn't even have an engineering class. My final was just in the engineering building for some stupid reason. But we're, like, washing our hands and stuff, and this guy comes barreling past us and runs into a stall. Cis male, no question about that, alright? Not claiming to be female, none of that. He ran into the restroom and proceeded to have explosive diarrhea. So, I mean, I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry to out you like this. It's not to shame him, but we immediately were like, all right, let's get out of here. Not because there's a man. Neither one of us reported him because we understood. We understood that he was in there not to harass anybody, but because there was a line for the men's restroom and he could not wait, the poor guy. Like, did he go into the women's restroom as a male? Yes, 100%. Did either of us have a problem with it? No, because it was clear that his intention was not to invade a female space. It was not to do anything nefarious. He just had to go to the bathroom really badly. And there was actually a second incident, and again during finals week, and this was in a different building. But I'm in there, and about 4 women are in there, but it's a really big bathroom. And we're go to the bathroom. We're fixing our hair and stuff. I have a little bit of time before my next final, so I'm, like, adjusting my hair because during tests I tend to run my hands through my hair a lot as, like, a stress response thing. So it was not looking good. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out from the stall area, freezes, looks at all of us, and says, "Sorry, ladies," and proceeds to go out. We yelled at him to come back and wash his hands, and he didn't. But I don't think he was hiding in there he had nothing with him. It's not like he had a backpack or anything suspicious with him. I think it was another case of he had to go to the bathroom. There was a small line for the men's restroom, and I just remember this because for some reason for finals week I always ended up in buildings where there were more men taking the finals than women, and so the men's restroom was always super long, but the women's restroom was always had no line at all. And so that happened a couple of times. It's not a big deal. I genuinely don't think it's a big deal. I genuinely don't think if someone is using it for the express purpose of relieving themselves and just going to the bathroom, it's not a big deal, regardless of their gender. I just don't think it's a big deal. Are there nefarious actors out there? 100%, but I don't think that trans women are the reason for these nefarious actors, and I don't think that trans women are the nefarious actors. I think anyone that wants to do weird shit in a bathroom will do so regardless of whether you let trans women into the women's restroom or not.
I'm a biological woman that medically transitioned to appear like a male through synthetic hormones and surgery. I will never be a man. Is it transphobic for me to tell the truth? Why is it that a couple hundred years from now, if you dug up my body, they're going to go, yeah, that was a woman, had babies?
Can you tell me about the procedures that you had?
I've had 7 surgeries. I've had 1 stress heart attack. I've had a helicopter life ride with a pulmonary embolism. I've had 17 rounds of antibiotics. I had 6 inches of hair on the inside of my urethra for 17 months. Nobody would help me, including the doctor that did this to me because I lost my insurance. I get infections every 3 to 4 months, I'm probably not going to live very long. I'm a biological woman.
So, this is interesting, because I have not heard about these types of complications with gender reassignment surgeries, and I felt bad that he lost his insurance. It's interesting to hear him say that he's a biological woman. This is something where, I don't know. Like, to me, I recognize him as a man. Socially, he's very much a man. And medically transition, I think once you, like, fully medically transition, like, at that point, your chromosomes mean so little, you know? I say that, but I still have issues with trans women competing in women's sports if they went through male puberty. That one, and when it comes to like puberty blockers for those going through puberty, trans youth, I so don't have a set opinion on that one. That one is such a nebulous topic for me. I don't know what to say about that one. But this is interesting. I feel really bad for him.
The media are up in arms because a trans woman placed 6,159th at the London Marathon.
I think it's very telling that the trans athletes that the media or that politicians choose to talk about are the Glennique Franks or the Leah Thomases of the world, and not the Chris Mosiers. Because if you actually think that transgender athletes have a competitive advantage over cisgender athletes, you should probably be talking about Chris Mosier. Since transitioning about a decade ago, Mosier has made more than half a dozen Team USAs, has been to the World Championships, was the first trans athlete to qualify for an Olympic trials, and nearly made the 2020 Olympic team in the 50K race walk, but was injured. Of course, there are at least two major differences between Mosier and Thomas and Frank. For one, he is a trans man, not a trans woman. And so for another, he exposes the lie that something about male biology will advantage trans women. And combined, the difference is trans misogyny.
The media are up in arms.
So this is covering some of the issues that I have around it's not entirely getting to my issue. I don't think a trans woman that went through male puberty I think there's a little bit more nuance there. It's far bigger than I want to get into for this video, but I am thinking about doing maybe a deep dive on it. I don't know, because I don't really feel like I do have some issues around trans women in women's sports, but it's not like a hardline stance for me. I have some issues about it, but it's something that I think that with a conversation, I could potentially be persuaded into something more. So that's part of the reason why I didn't want to cover it too much. But I think that while this trans woman placing 6,159th in the London Marathon is not a big deal in the slightest, I do think that there are potentially some advantages that trans women have over cis women, primarily with potential for muscle development, and like general stature, but again, that could be potentially be offset by the estrogen that they take. So I'm not like 100% sure, but it's something that I am not like 100%. It's not like the bathroom issue where I'm like, dude, fuck off. They're just trying to pee, leave them alone. There's a little bit some more nuance there for me. But I'm very curious about your opinions, specifically on trans athletes. This is meant to be a discussion, not a demonizing of trans people. Please do not just lambaste trans people for being fucking trans. It's more about whether there is a competitive advantage or not for trans women, and whether what you think of maybe like the trans man story. That's what I'm looking for. Please do not demonize trans people in my comments. This is not, this whole video was not meant to demonize trans people, and I want to be 100% clear on that. So I don't want to see, again, people lambasting trans people in my comments. This is meant to be a discussion. And I was really highly debating whether I even wanted to cover this topic. But I think I'm going to end it here. Honestly, I didn't see that much, like, out there-ness from the trans community. Like, 90% of it was either hacks for how to pass as whatever your preferred gender is more easily. Some, like, sound trend sort of posts about experiences being trans. And some things that I thought were just, like, legitimate, like, there's no reason to dead name someone. I agree with that. Was a video of someone, like, almost verbally harassing a trans woman, calling them he and a man and stuff, when I'm like, that is a very passing trans woman. I don't know who told you that they were trans, but you're just doing that to be hurtful. Like, it wasn't like an accidental, like sometimes we see accidental ones where they use the wrong pronouns, and I have more sympathy for, because I've done that with cisgendered kids, and I thought that a little boy looked like a little girl, and he got upset with me, and I didn't blame it, and I apologized, but it's happened more than once with just the kids. The kids aren't even trans. It's just a boy that has a higher, softer voice and long hair, and my brain was like, it's a little girl, and I used the wrong pronouns. Like, it's just something that happens. So for those, I don't think that people should be, like, I don't know why I'm loving the word lambast today, but lambasted for it. My brain is not coming up with other synonyms. So I think I don't think that by and large the trans community is asking for much apart from let them live their lives and leave them alone when they aren't doing anything wrong, and don't be a dick and dead name them when they're clearly not identifying with that name anymore. Otherwise, like, the trans community seems pretty okay. There's a couple of out there people, like there are in every movement, but I don't, at least from what I've seen on these TikTok tags, they're not the loudest of the group, thankfully. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know what you think of this video. Was I stepping too far outside my lane? I was kind of worried about that. I'm putting this up as kind of like a test, because I'm not sure if it's something I want to go into the trans athletes and, like, actually look at studies and that sort of thing, but I don't want to hurt anybody. So anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.